Here is the setup guide for our record player. I'm going to be just setting up a basic scene using ProTV and nothing else. This record player does support multiple video players. You'd have to see the support when you go to download them, and different which modules that it has. But ProTV is the recommended module, and it's what this record player was built for. So I have a basic scene here with nothing but just the ground and ProTV. And we're going to be adding the record player and a couple records. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to add a table initially, just so we have somewhere to put our record player. I'll move that over here. I will then add in the record player. Just right there. And if you're using ProTV, this is where you can stop. You can just add a record in, and this should just work. So I'm going to try that here. I'm going to add in just a record. Let's save our scene. I'm going to go into play mode. The record is in, and it plays. I am going to go over manual setup just in case for some reason, like it either doesn't work or you're using something other than ProTV, which you should be using ProTV. But let's just go over that. So if we go into the record player here, you will see the video player module up here. We will have to enter manual setup mode because we are using ProTV and it detects that ProTV is installed. So let's go into manual setup mode, and it's going to ask for the record player module down here. So we have to go into our packages folder, which is here. So we have two folders, one's assets, one packages. Some modules will be in, or most of them will be in packages. Some of them will be in assets. It depends on whether or not the video player you're using is in your assets folder or your packages folder. In most cases, it's going to be in packages, and in ProTV's case, it's going to be in packages. So we're going to take this, we're going to take its video player module, and we're going to add that to our scene. We're going to go back into the record player. And we're going to, well, it's going to find itself and automatically bind to it. So now we can go into here. We can bind the record player, and we can bind the TV manager inside the module itself. Once that's done, it should be good. So if we go into play mode again, it should work. Chris playing, and it pops up in the video player. Some modules are going to have more than two options. It just depends on your video player. They'll all have a record player slot, and they might have more. So in ProTV's case, it has one central manager, so it has just one slot for its manager. But like some video players I've seen have multiple ones. And you can only access some stuff in one and then some stuff in the other. So I've had to have two slots so I can read everything. But in most cases, it's just going to have two. And in ProTV's case, everything the auto setups for you, so you don't have to do anything. There's a couple more things that this record player supports in terms of setup. There is a record player holder. So if we add this to our scene, it's going to come with a sample record on it, but this is not going to actually yet upload it. When you go to upload, this is only going to display in editor. the record itself, not the holder. You can see it says example album. This is just to indicate like what it's going to like show with a record in it. So let's put that on the table. And this should also just auto bind to the record player. So if you go in here, it'll say detected record holder and it'll show up there. The only thing editable in here is the position where it's going to be holding the record, but like you don't really need to edit this unless you're making like a custom mesh for it. So if we go into play mode again, when you initially saw it played the record and the record like disappeared, this one, it will be inside the record holder. There it is. You can pick this up. You can do whatever you want with it. And the last thing with this in actual like functionality setup is the record shelf. So I'm going to add the record shelf to the scene. It's going to go right over here. And the default record shelf holds 6 records. So I'm going to put this in here. I'm going to add our 1 record into here. So you can see the record name show up here. I'm going to add a couple more records. So let's add here and here. Okay, so now we have 3 records in the scene. I'm going to go to our shelf. I'm going to bind our records. This really should be a drop-down menu. I might change that later. And then I'm going to hit the Move Records to Shelf button. And that's just going to take your records and put them on the shelf. Our record player is in random record mode, so it's going to pick from any one of these 3 and play them. If you want to change that, it's a little drop-down menu right here. By default, it's random. You can set it to none, or you can set it to any of your individual albums. All of your records will also like show down here with the album name, how many songs they have in them, and references to each. So you can easily find them in your scene. So we go into play mode right now. And go over here. It just picked a random record to play. So that's going to pop in that live stream. We can throw around our albums, and there's going to be a reset button right here. So that's going to take all the albums that aren't currently being played, and it's just going to put them back on the shelf. If we pick up the record currently on the record holder, and then we hit the reset button again, all of the records will be returned to the shelf.